Good evening everyone, and welcome again to the Planning and Highways meeting today, the 20th of February. Just got to go through some house rules, just bear with us. Thank you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded that their commitment to the civility and respect pledge and to be mindful of this during tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the Council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent. If councillors have any concerns about hearing or seeing others in the meeting, please let the chair or the council officer know straight away. Fire exits are clearly marked, with 2 in this room being the closest. The assembly point is the flat grass area by the patio, which is out there. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with key points as follows. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person and must be relating to an item of business on the agenda. As Chair, I will interject if needed to enforce this. For those looking to speak specifically about planning or tree works application on the agenda, you will be invited to speak immediately before the committee considers that application. For those looking to speak on non-planning application business, you will be invited to speak during the public participation agenda item. Please raise your hand to show you wish to speak and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to. But we ask that you clearly state which agenda item you are speaking about. I would ask that the participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of the agenda item to limit distractions for other participants. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting when possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order. I will then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the Council, I would like to thank everyone for attending this Town Council meeting. Thank you. Before we start this meeting, I would like to do a moment of silence because one of our past councillor who used to be a committee member, Sarah Mastrava, sadly passed away, and just to show respect, we just have a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence. We've got Councillor Lord and Councillor Mead for second. Thank you, Councillor Mead. Item 2, disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interest and interest other than pecuniary interest as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Thank you. Item 3, public participation. To deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public in accordance with relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy. In accordance with Town Council policy, members of the public wishing to speak on individual planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application. So, if any members of the public like to speak on agenda item 4 and 5. So, we've got the Lewis District Local Plan consultation, final draft, and also the introduction of the South Downs National Park local plan. Okay. Yes.
Good evening, Chair, Councillors, everybody. I'd like to speak on agenda items 4 and 5, because in one way it is advantageous that both the South Downs National Park and Lewis District are at consultation stage for the local plan. The Lewis local plan states tourism data demonstrates that the tourism economy continues to be a significant contributor to the overall economy of the district, and therefore should be appropriately planned for and considered. So question 130, do you think the wording of the draft policy E7 is appropriate? And we've already put the answer no there. Question 131, if not, what should be changed about the draft policy E7? The first 2 points of the policy really only deal with visitor accommodation, attractions and recreational facilities. However, point 3 does actually appear to deal with development proposals, and they mustn't prejudice or disadvantage people's enjoyment of existing and appropriate tourism and recreational activities. So point 3 appears to be a bit wider than just visitor accommodation on that. So maybe that one is quite good what they've put in. However, what I'm mainly going to suggest is that Lewis District Council and the South Downs National Park almost have a similar policy for the visitor economy. So the South Downs National Park are talking about policy SD23. They're moving from sustainable tourism, whereby tourism is about doing less harm, and they're moving to a policy of regenerative tourism, whereby it aims for tourism to help give back more than it takes, which sounds quite ambitious, but actually almost every visitor to the South Downs National Park for this area is coming through the town. There is an understanding by the South Downs National Park that there are honeypots and hotspots, and at the moment several areas of the Seaford are considered honeypots, which are areas considered to attract tourists. However, there are hotspots, and these are considered to be under pressure from tourist and related activities, and what we don't want to see is our honeypots going towards hotspots. In addition, the local plan states that Seaford has coastal tourism, which we do, we've got a beach, and they just point us towards policy E5 about town centres. However, what I feel we need to say is that Seaford has rural tourism. In fact, we have probably more rural than we have coastal. And for rural tourism, they're really just pointing us towards diversified farms in policy E4. So really it's to say to the Lewis District, can we be acknowledged that we have rural tourism as well as coastal? And then what is the evidence that we've got to support the change? Well, we asked for a visitor survey, Seaford Town Council did, and it's noted in their preferred option consultation paper about last year. And Seaford said, we support acknowledging the increase in tourism to Seaford, particularly since COVID, with the rise in popularity of the South Downs National Park. There has been a meeting this week with one of the councillors from Lewis District Council, and they're going off to talk to the planners across both of the South Downs National Park and the Seaford, South Downs and Lewis District. Travel trends have changed significantly since 2012, and that's when the South Downs National Park did their visitor study, and Lewis District did theirs just before COVID. So what I'm saying, the same as what you're saying, is really they need to commission some studies because they need to understand what's going on to be able to plan for going forward. Because social media has really changed how people are visiting this area, and there are many, many videos with tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, and some in Asia that have got millions of views for coming to this area, and this is what the future of tourism is beginning to look like. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, thank you. So looking at agenda page 12, strategic policy SDS2. So sorry, I'm speaking about agenda item 4 and 5. So number 6, do you think the wording of draft strategic policy blah 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 is appropriate? We've got no comment in the agenda, and I'd like to say that where it says on point 3, make efficient use of land buildings, particularly suitable previously developed land, where consideration has been given, is so vague, it sounds like a suggestion rather than a name, and I feel that that needs guidelines. Agenda page 14, sustainable construction, CC6. Agenda item number 31, do you think the wording of draft policy is appropriate? No comment. Point A, wherever possible, reusing or adapting existing buildings. I think this is where we should push for St John's to be redeveloped as flats, which was a suggestion that Councillor Meek made at the last meeting. It would fit in with the Fell Road area of established character and keep the amazing main building of St John's. What's not included as an item on the agenda is the theme health and well-being, which is an item that I brought forward before about minimising lighting pollution, which is there in the policy number 4 in HW2. And it says proposals with an overall sky glow upward light ratio in excess of 5% will be refused. And this last part of the sentence I think should be deleted, where it says outside of district centres and service centres. Because I don't believe that anybody wants light pollution no matter where they live, whether they're in town or not. Your agenda item, page, page 32. About St John's, there's a paragraph there, is limited pavement, and then it says, and where the pavement exists, is it not fit for the purpose? That's actually incorrect. Fell Road is flanked by some undulating grass verge in places on one side only, for the majority of its length, with only a limited amount of pavement around the boundary rise estate. The verge is unsuitable for pedestrians in the winter due to its unevenness and slipperiness, and unsuitable all year round for families with wheelchairs and pushchairs. The majority of pedestrians therefore walking the road all year round because of this. Agenda page 28, theme infrastructure and communities. We have. So we've objected to a point 150 with no, and given the reason in 151. I think it might be 150 where we need to ask, how does LDC determine whether the infrastructure is sufficient? Where are the guidelines? Where can we look for guidelines for deciding that? And then on to agenda item 5, the SDNP local plan. Agenda number 2.6. The last sentence says site LE109 is on the edge of the national park, and my understanding is that it is actually in the national park. And there's some surrounding land on either side of it that isn't, but that bit is. That's it, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Can I please speak on agenda items 4 and 5, and I'll keep it very short. Firstly, I'd just like to say what an impressive piece of work that the Deputy Town Clerk and the team have done on the proposed reply to Lewis. I think it captured a lot of the points that were made at the informal meeting, and it was a nice piece of work.
Thank you for that.
I would add one small point, if I may, please, and that's with regard to the St John's site, ESAP 20, I think it is. I totally agree with the thought that it should be redeveloped and that the existing building should be kept. But the point I really wanted to make was the Town Council talks about an objection to Seaford being a district centre and a Tier 1 centre at that. It occurs to me that if Seaford is to be a Tier 1 centre, then it ought to be allowed to maintain and improve its facilities for the town and the district around it, the hinterland. And the way that Lewis seemed to be putting his plan together is mandating through dictate housing on us. And that is inconsistent with a Tier 1 site in my view. So that might be a point that could be picked up in the future. Moving on to the South Downs plan, just very briefly. I think there is a real linkage between the Lewis plan and the South Downs plan. There's a lot of common factors like the road access and things of that sort, which I think need to be stressed in any reply to South Downs. And there needs to be a coordination between what happens in Lewis and what happens in South Downs, because it affects the same small area and the same group of residents. It also affects visitors to the town, to the golf club and elsewhere. And my final point is that I'm a little bit confused as to why a number of these sites were considered in 2017-18 in the Seaford plan, rejected on various grounds, and now they've been retreaded. It rather suggests that the local plan, the Seaford plan, is being disregarded, if you like. And it should have some status. There is some wording in the Lewis document, which I can't now remember, about hierarchy of plans. But if we're talking about locality and decisions being as low as they possibly could, that plan should have a paramount position. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I'd like to talk about item number 4 on the agenda. Firstly, many thanks again for facilitating the open meeting last week. I think the draft response has done a great job in incorporating the comments made during the meeting. I do have a number of points I'd like you to consider in your response. Question 42 relates to NE1. NE1 bullet B says, where harm is not adequately avoided, mitigated or compensated. And I kind of worry about that, and I worry about developers buying their way out of that. And so I kind of came up with this crazy idea, but you could adapt it as you want to, because we've seen it with Newlands, for example, where they kind of bought the way out of keeping the playing field. So can we have something in there, as an example, they should pay 10 times the amount of the value of the land as their compensation. But at the moment, just this compensation is very vague, and I think we should try and put some sort of algorithm there or something to hold their feet to the fire. Question 88, H1. This contains the phrase minimum, and when it comes to density. So be it 20, 30 or 50, I feel that density is the centre of many of the infrastructure issues that have been described. Higher density will obviously put additional pressure on already at capacity schools, health provision, emergency services, roads, sewage, etc. Maybe it will be made very clear. So could I suggest that we replace the word minimum with target? I think this, the word minimum is like a threshold that we're demanding developers cross. And I think that, you know, if they don't meet that, then there'll be legal consequences, because that word minimum seems like a, you know, like a threshold. So the word target is a lot softer, a lot more aggressive, and won't stand to be taught so much. Then finally, the supporting arguments, I think to add weight to our argument, because they're very well written, but can we add some actual numbers so that the argument is stronger? So for example, can we add the population of Seaford and Bishopstone so they can see how big it is? Can we add the number of GPs and number of patients they each support, the number of school places that are available, the volume of traffic on the A259 at peak times, etc., just to try and stress the point that our infrastructure is already stretched. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, me again. Item 4. I just wanted to say, given the complexity of the questionnaire, many of us, I'm sure, have been struggling to find our way through it and to answer as a member of the public. I'm not sure how many responses from the public in Seaford are going to be forthcoming for this, and how it will look when there are, 25 questionnaires filled in for the whole town. I just wonder whether there's anything more that could be done on social media, on the Seaford Town Council Facebook page, for example, publishing your own response when it's been confirmed, to help people to have at least some idea of how they might fill that questionnaire in and what it's. I mean, it's really hard to work out that it relates to that very long plan, and that people would have to plough their way through it in order to answer. And a lot of people think they have to answer every question, but it would be really good to point out that as long as they answer some questions, it will be seen as a response, and that the more responses that come from the town, the better, really. So I don't know whether there's any social media way. We've only got a week, so it's not long for people to realise they've got to fill, even if they fill in 3 or 4 boxes, especially to the site, the bit pertaining to the sites at the end, it will make it, may make a difference. And the other thing I wanted to say, just as a matter of experience, as to what happened to me when I went to the South Downs National Park drop-in in Lewis last weekend. Other people who went had a more positive response from the members of staff there, but we were told that they were not likely to be making any objections to any housing plans that Lewis District Council were going to be coming up with, as they were having enough trouble meeting their own targets within the National Park, and that they were unlikely to put up any objection to any other building outside of the South Downs National Park. So I was very disappointed with that, especially as one of the people I spoke to is a senior planning policy officer who I think might even live in Seaford, sadly. So I just thought I'd share that experience with you, so you see what sort of complexities are involved. And it's only to be hoped that 2 of them get together, as we all hope, and try and talk together about what's planned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? No? Okay. Right, so did you want to answer?
Yeah, to the item and then I'll finish.
Okay, that's all right. Right, okay. Right, so we now move on to agenda item 4. The purpose of the report is to invite discussion and approval on the Town Council's final draft response to the Lewis District Council's local plan consultation. The committee is advised to consider the contents of the report, 2, to consider the Town Council's final draft response to Lewis local plan consultation questionnaire, suggesting amendments where appropriate. 3, to consider the final draft response to the site allocations. 4, to consider the final draft supporting arguments in response to Lewis local plan consultation. And then we'll move to a vote on the motions below. So who would like to lead on this? Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just picking up on a point that was raised by during the residents' discussions. Once Seaford Town Council have posted their draft onto the website, can a resident then just say, an answer to Lewis, the plan, just say, I endorse Seaford Town Council's decisions on the plan, rather than have to go through every single item? Is there a speed up kind of process there? And then you might get more people.
So if
Send it
it's
in.
right to answer that,
Yes,
then,
yes.
So obviously responding to the residents' question as well. So tomorrow my plan is to finalise everything and submit it to Lewis District Council, and then on our website to publicise what we've submitted, which will be an editable version of the survey, which a member of the public would then be able to download and change to I'm a member of the public, and then submit it if they wanted to, or edit it, go through it, check it, or if they wanted to look at it. I've also got a very brief how-to guide to go with that. Plus on social media, I'm going to be putting out a note to say we've submitted our response, this is where you can find it, and we encourage you to go and look at it yourselves and submit your response, but here's where you can find ours. So it should be, if they want to, I don't think there's anywhere that Lewis District Council are going to sort of post it and look for people to click and say yes, I agree with that, because they're just collecting everything. But we can put it out there in a way where members of the public can take it and put it in themselves.
I'm sort of on social media to stress
Yeah.
the more people fill forms in, the better it is for the town, and it supports what everybody is trying to say.
And I will be putting in the different ways that the response can be received as well. So obviously there's the online survey you can click through and submit. You can also download the survey, fill that in and submit, and you can also upload documents. So I'm going to set out all the different ways that members of the public can put their responses in as well.
Any more comments? Councillor Ludwig first.
I think we've already got here that we need to know thanks to the members of the public for the work that they've been doing for gathering information, which is really helpful because everyone's agreed that there's so much information to find. Obviously the visitor economy, tourism, and I really do think we need to put in there about urban, if that's already noted in there. We need to put in about the urban tourism. I don't want to get it around the wrong way. Rural tourism, we definitely need to put that one in, because even though we are a town, everyone's going into the countryside. So we need to put this in there. And also I'm sorry, we're on number 4 first. The suggestions on about St John's School, if that can be looked at further with what Councillor Meeker said about turning it up.
Redevelopment, sustainable development.
Yeah.
Very sustainable.
And there's also a member of the public also mentioned about the fact compensations to town planners don't pay the SIL or don't do the affordable housing. Don't know if that is possible to be done.
We could urge, encourage, lobby.
And then also, Chap also said about the number of residents in Seaford to actually give real facts and figures. I know we've already got it in there about the GPs, the numbers, because that's already in there, that's already in the section here. So I think it's good that we can add in the bits, the pieces that the residents have actually mentioned.
Councillor Richard Cunningham.
I think one of the residents would be about the conversation side, isn't that nationally agreed anyway, with developers and sites? I think that's nationally agreed. Also, one of the other residents as well was going on about trying to change this district council's questionnaire. It's not really going to do it to target. I don't think it's not in our jurisdiction to start changing the questionnaire. It's not really not our questionnaire as such, so I think we still have to be quite careful in that. But as long as the resident wants to make comments on that, that's up to them. So it's their questionnaire, it's not a town council questionnaire. So it's not for us to sort of keep changing the the questionnaire per se, which is what I think I heard, trying to us to amend the questions a little bit, which is not really in our jurisdiction. But also, did I get that wrong?
Yes, it wasn't about the question, it was one of the responses to the question, so changing one of the wordings from minimum to target in one of the policies.
But that's our policy, so how we can't change the...
But that's what we're being consulted on. So it would be us suggesting a change in wording, so maybe it makes it stronger, so rather than minimised.
Yeah, you've got to be quite careful on that. You can see where I come, because they're set sort of... I can see if it's no good plan, I can understand that. As it's not no good plan, it's just council plan. I wouldn't mind getting advice on that before you start including changing those sort of responses, if that's okay. At the moment I'd be a little bit reluctant, hesitant in accepting that. So can we get advice on that from someone else after the meeting, if that's all right? If you don't know the answer to that.
I mean, there are a few of the other questions where we've suggested what changes to wording and policy, and that's what the question asks for. You know, what would we want to see in that policy? So I suppose it's whether the committee agrees with what that member of the public has put forward as a word change from minimum to target, and it was to make it stronger. You know, that's what was trying to be put across, which I don't disagree with, if I'm honest. And you know, Lewis can listen to it, or they don't have to listen to it. It's to set the target for the developer rather than say, here's your minimum.
Well, if I'm happy if obviously we get advice now, I'm looking forward to the reply.
Thank you. Councillor Baldwin.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Councillor Niver Honeyman was saying about adding the residents' comments in, because it just strengthens our responses up a little bit more. We'll do some figures. I was looking at the train data. So for 2023-2024, we had 613,980 passengers go and return on Seaford trains. We are 739 out of 2,581 train stations, so it's in the top third, and that is up 11.05%, or 61,078 passengers from 22-23.
Wow.
On the National Rail data, you can pick them all up. So I'd like these figures added in, but also that Lewis District Council actually looks at these data for visitors, because I say Seaford's not a great visitor attraction as such, but this shows that we are, and they should be looking at more national statistics and not such old information.
Doesn't include Bishopstone Station.
Doesn't include Bishopstone.
Which is the other gateway.
That's just Seaford.
Oh my goodness. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to reassure Councillor Hannigan, I don't think you need to worry about this. I think the whole point of the consultation is that we can suggest alternative wordings. I think that's the whole point of it. It's not that they laid this in stone. It's saying, what do you think about the way we've put this? Is it the right way to put it? So we're just saying, take out minimum, put in target would be a better way of putting it. I think that's the intention. And so it's just a consultation. I really don't think you need to worry that we're overstepping the mark. I think that's the whole, from my point, I think it's the whole point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
but I think come back, obviously, if we are, the officers at District Council will look at that accordingly.
Can I also say, Chair, in response to members of the public commenting on, strategic infrastructure and things like that, I'm afraid that, what happens generally, it seems to me, and you all know this, that we get data from various stakeholders which say they're happy with it, and then but actually what happens on the ground is completely different. And the public's experience of what happens, whether it's highways, whether it's sewage, whether it's water, whether it's air pollution, whatever it might be, is totally different from what the statutory bodies are telling us. So it's very difficult to get data on that because they just say, yeah, we're fine with it. So I do think that's a problem. I don't know how we can sort that out, because they're just required to say they can deal with it, and that's what we seem to get the answer is. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Cannon.
Oh, yes, I'm just coming back to this thought about explaining how large Seaford is, number of people, number of GPs, stuff like that. Are we allowed to compare it to Lewis? I mean, I don't know how many GP surgeries are in Lewis, I don't know how many schools are in Lewis, but I'm pretty sure that's more than Seaford, and we have a bigger population.
We are certainly the largest town in the Lewis district.
So I don't know whether that's
That's on
a
that.
canny thing to do, or you might be considered how they're comparison.
Anything else? Is everybody? Councillor Olivia Hammond.
Yeah, there was also comments made about St John's School and Fell Road. That really does need to be emphasised. There really is hardly any pavement there at all. You really do have to walk the road. Because the slope, and if it's muddy, you can't really walk on it unless you've got really good shoes. But I really think that does need to be emphasised, that there is very limited pavement there.
And it is a busy road now.
It is a busy road because a lot of people will use it as a cut through. And even if they are going off the wall or going up to the golf course, or people use those areas a lot more. And it definitely has to say about the pavement. And yes, you couldn't really use it for, and there is a little path along one side of the road, but you couldn't, you've got to walk in the road if you've got a pram, wheelchair, or anything like that, which is not practical because the traffic going up and down there. And they do go up there fast because you can't really slow them down.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Any more comments?
Sorry, Chair, just coming up on the back of that, though, I think what's interesting about that is, and as residents would be aware, I mean, one of the charms about Fell Road, you could say, and its established character, is the fact that it doesn't have a pavement. It's a bit like a country lane, and maybe the lighting isn't very good in places, but to a lot of people that's kind of an established character. So if you are going to have houses up there, then you're actually going to confront the established character. If you want to have pavements, and you want to have a better road system, and you want to have better lighting, then you will change, by default, the established character. So, I mean, you could ask whether actually the road is fit for purpose with the number of houses that are there already, because people are walking in the road. But what do we do about that? We're trying to encourage walking and cycling and sustainable travel. But we've got a situation where we've got a road that actually isn't fit for purpose, even though it's a lovely road to walk up. So these are really intangible, difficult to grapple with these problems, because you will change the character of that particular road, which is one of Seaford's premier roads. So it's really difficult to know how to manage that, Chair, I feel.
Yeah, because it's nice and open at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, so Richard Hunter.
Coming back on that, and not too far away, of course, you've got the private road, St Peter's Road, of course, which is, private road is what it is, but they don't have paved side of it, but it doesn't get the traffic flow. But again, if they did have pavement, so that was really that character as well, for a nice, relatively, I don't know how long the road is, 400 metres, so big flat, isn't it? Impressive houses both sides, but they've got additional developments as well going on, haven't they, as well, both sides as well, and some flat accommodation. There's quite a mix up there, but again, I think the pavements there would change the complete character. So again, you are walking on the side of the roads there if you have to do that now.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Right. Okay. I think we're all in agreement that we're taking on board everything what the public have said.
So you check, and just, are we taking on board everything that the public has said, well, to try and incorporate that as well? So that would be part of our number 2 recommendation, is that right?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so the committee has recommended to record a note and thanks to members of the public who have contributed invaluable evidence comments and concerns which have aided the Town Council in its response to the consultation on behalf of the Town. 2. To agree to finalise Seaford Town Council's response to this local plan consultation questionnaire. And 3. To agree to finalise Seaford Town Council's response to site allocations. Would you like to take all three together? Oh, sorry. And 4. To agree to finalise Seaford Town Council's supporting arguments in response to the Lewis local plan consultation. Would you like to take all 4 together? Yeah. Okay, so can I have a proposer and seconder? So Boardman and seconded by Councillor Olivia Hunman, and can I have a show of hands? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 5 on page 43. To introduce the South Downs National Park Authority local plan consultation. 1. To consider the contents of the report. 2. To discuss the consultation including the Seaford site allocation LE 109, land at Seaford Golf Club, Thor Road. To feedback to the Assistant Town Clerk any comments for inclusion in the Town Council response to the consultation, and 4. To move to a vote on motions below. Who would like to lead on this one?
Can I just jump in before
Yes.
that, Chair?
Yes,
If I may. Obviously, I've noted down comments from the members of the public today. I've also put in front of you some comments we've received by email from members of the public. So they're quite similar to what we're putting in for St John's, so there's going to be a bit of an overlap there. So my suggestion would be that I gather that all together and do a similar exercise to then put forward a draft to the 13th of March meeting, and obviously listen to anything you've got to say now as well. That's okay.
Thank you. Councillor Bourne.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Where Seaford's situated, we South Downs National Parks Plan and Lewis District's local plan, they overlap, and a lot of our responses that we've just agreed on this evening for Lewis's local plan actually should be our kind of responses to the South Downs National Park, but including things like the Dark Sky Small, because especially Chinkton Way, areas Bishopstone and Furl Road, that are all surrounded by the South Downs National Park, that their policies are going to sort of lead on what developments or not developments in those areas as well. So there is a big overlap there.
Thank you. Anything else? Councillor Link.
I was going to just say, Chair, that this is quite a much longer time consultation we've got to respond to, isn't it?
Yes.
And actually, I think the second consultation isn't for till 26 or something, is it? Or something? It seems to be quite a long period. So I think there's probably, I absolutely agree with Councillor Vaughan, we can use a lot of the same material, and if Izzy can do that, and you know, we could kind of maybe that could be discussed with councillors, you know, not necessarily in one of these meetings, but just helping to feed into it. And obviously, if members of the public can feed stuff through as well, that would be great. So what I was going to say, it's not so kind of immediate that we have to get this back, possibly. I don't know what your feelings are about the timescale for this one. Is there a particular timescale?
In terms of, yeah, I think it's the 16th of March, 17th of March, so it needs to go to the 13th of March, so I've got to get it drafted the week before that, so we have only got a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
So once you start adding report deadlines in, it is quite tight, but we have already got a wealth of information from members of the public and from doing the Lewis plan exercise, so I think it's a little bit less concerning, basically, yeah.
And I think we need to emphasise on the land at Seaford Golf Club like we did with the objections to land in the local plan, Lewis District local plan, that it is how to keep, well, not how to keep it, but intrusion to the area. And I was up there yesterday, and the golf course used it as an overflow car park as well, and it was well used yesterday. And it'd be destruction of the hedgerow. You've got a very narrow lane where the entrance will be to the if they propose 12 development. I think, like we've said before, that it's just not an appropriate area to develop. So I think if we can do a separate report on that, like we've done on the Lewis District local plan. Any other comments?
I think you said all that everyone was going to say anyway. So.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Right, so you're recommended to instruct the Assistant Town Clerk to draft the Town Council's response to the South Downs National Park Authority local plan consultation, and 2, to note that the committee will finalise the Town Council's response at the next Planning and Highways Committee meeting on Thursday the 13th of March 2025. We'll take it together, and so can I have a proposer and seconder? Councillor Richard Hanlon, and seconded by Councillor Buchanan. And can I have a show of hands, please? And that's unanimous. Thank you for that. It will work for you. Thank you everybody for coming. You're quite welcome to stay because we're going to discuss tree applications and a road closure. Agenda item 7, page 47.
Can we go back to agenda item 6?
We need to go back.
Oh, of course we do, yes.
You were looking at the list. It's not just me getting the words fuddled.
See,
It's just a very big agenda for what we originally looking at.
The two should do the acts first and then going on to other things.
That's 6.
yeah. Agenda
Probably
item
do
6.
that trees, don't we?
Page 2.
Apparently it's at the front,
That's right,
and
yeah.
it's on the first, no, it's on the first,
Yes.
no, it's on the page 2.
Jumping ahead.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right, so tree works. TW/25/0004/TPO 33 Barn Close. Would like to lead on, Councillor Richard Cunningham?
Well, it's just so that we've had this address before, it's quite regular, I've got no problems with it, so I support it.
Thank you. So find a seconder.
A second.
Any other comments? And can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? That's unanimous. TW/25/0007/TPO 4 Manor Road North. Councillor Bournemouth?
Yeah, well, the planned in some previous points, so I'm quite happy to, they've done it before, I'm quite happy to support it.
So find seconder. Councillor Luke Hanlon, any further comments? And I'll show of hands of supporting. Thank you. That's unanimous. TW/25/0002/TPO 11 Barn Close. Councillor Richard Hanlon.
I can see, likewise, we've had 11 bar press quite regularly, so again, I support this.
Thank you. Does that find a seconder? Councillor Olivia Hanlon. And can I have a show of hands of supporting? It's unanimous. TW/25/0010/TPO 5 Headland Avenue. to lead on this one?
Go on, I'll let you
Well, as you say, I've just learnt a new word and had to look it up. It's just sort of... yes, I haven't come across that word before. So, I think it's
No, I
quite
think
straightforward.
I'll support that. Just because what normally happens is it just breaks otherwise.
We will just... And it did say that the large cavity is in on the trunk. Which we want to. Okay, so that finds seconder. Thank you. Can I have a show of hands, please? It was nice to have photographs on that one.
It was very helpful.
Yeah.
Except for one of them that last night was very slow to come up in pages.
Oh, I had that today.
Really slow. We had some major issues Tuesday when the system was down.
Well, I looked at it yesterday.
And I don't think they've got it back up to speed.
No, I'm like, how much longer is this going to take?
Well, the first one just wouldn't load at the beginning, and I had to go back to it. But it was very bad. Right, now we go on to page 47, agenda item 7. To present the details of proposed road closure application from Friends of Bishopstow Station for a VE Day celebration, and for this committee to consider and comment. It's pretty straightforward. It is,
I think the chair will probably receive a few of these
yes.
as VE Day approaches.
Yes, I mean, it's as you approach Bishopstow Station, it is the apron bit at the top, so. Councillor Richard Hunnigan.
Yeah, I've just checked that, right now they're not playing at home, they're playing on Saturday, so if they were playing at home, I'd have a little bit more reservations about it. It's quite a busy station, where they're right and playing, they're not, so they're playing on Saturday at 3 o'clock, so that's not going to upset it. What's my other question? It seems like the key evening still the evening or the day of the 8th, so that if the additional, I don't know what the national guidance is on this yet. I don't know. National guidance, what I heard and read, it says the 8th. I did check on the AT website today, and they did say it's the 8th the main day. So I don't know, but you know, party any day, can't you? It's not, It doesn't matter what day it is, does it?
I think, through you, Chair, I think they've just obviously just taken advantage of the bank holiday Monday, and they've decided that's when they're going to do their celebration, and most of the other items or sort of events will be happening on the Thursday, but at certain times, so like at 9 o'clock in the morning, I think there's the flag raising, then at 9:30 in the evening is the beacon lighting nationally, so I think people might want to do things in the day, tea parties and things like that, or over the weekend.
So this is about Friday anyway, isn't it?
No.
No, was it say what was the is it June on
They're
May?
doing it on the Monday.
5th of May.
No, the VE day is 8th of June or May.
May.
Right, I misread that, so apologies.
Yeah.
A month from my life.
They probably, like you said, they've done that, so there won't be so many cars wanting the station.
Yeah, absolutely.
Councillor Bowman.
Yeah, just want to make sure that they leave some space for an emergency vehicle. It is a station. If anything happens and they need to get access to the station, that there is a space there for an emergency vehicle on the station. And all road closures, you've got to be able to allow access for emergency vehicles, but as they're closing off just that little bit, that there is somewhere for it to park, especially if it is for. Sometimes you get the transport police doing that as well as ambulances and things. So.
Yeah, it has to be known.
I mean, you could use the other exits, couldn't you?
Sorry?
You could use the exits going up the steps from the actual.
They'd have to park on.
Yeah, down on the.
Under a bridge on a blind bend. No, they'd park there.
That would be a bit.
Yeah, it's the easiest access at the front of the station.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Presumably there's going to be, they will make a way for pedestrians, I think there's going to be full pedestrian access, they won't.
Yeah, you've got the pavement going round it, yeah.
It's only the actual road traffic.
probably should maintain access to the station for passengers. We could put down. Yeah. Right. So who proposed? Did somebody propose? Propose?
No, just no comments.
Right. Okay. Can I have a proposer?
I'll propose all the comments.
And seconded Councillor Cannon. And everybody's happy about the comments we've made?
Yes.
Okay, right, show of hands please. And that's unanimous, thank you. Agenda item 8. To notify the committee of decisions taken by Lewes District Council and South Downs National Park Authority on applications previously considered by the committee. Unless there's any comments, we are asked to note the report. Do you want to make any comments?
No, I mean just to highlight that the shore has gone through. So
Yeah.
that was sort of quite a big one, but and it's just been quite quiet because I think Lewis is probably quite busy with other things.
It's quite quick to go through, though,
Yeah.
compared to some of the others.
Yeah,
We're still waiting.
some of them, which I think are probably a bit more simpler, they're going through quite quickly. But yeah.
I was quite pleased with Vicarage Close because if you remember that was an extension which came right out the front and was beyond the building line. So I was quite pleased to see that one. Any other comments? So can I have a show of hand of noting the report? Noted. Thank you very much. And that concludes.
8 o'clock, it was 8 o'clock when you get that.
Yes.